Over the years, an interesting insight has emerged into the liberal mindset due to it dominating the public discourse. Yet, the liberal mindset is not the only one doing that. There is an array of different ideologies that have sprung into action, and the liberal response to them makes it an interesting case study. For example, when there was a conservative majority, the entertainment complex barged into it via comedy that was explicit for the time. On protests, the liberal industry easily submerged the existing ethical strain of the society within the roars of laughter and waves of joy emanating from the satires, stand ups, and group performances. The conservative proposition was deemed absurd. No cow was sacred. The world needed more enjoyment, and not some serious, holier than thou old people who were upset at the rebellious nature of the younger generation. It is interesting to see that such attitudes only come about in generations that can afford it, in the societies flowing in good times, built by their ancestors through sheer hard work. The avenues for those seeking enjoyment are always limited, no matter what. The already well off complain most about the lack of entertainment, and for this bourgeois middle class, the means of mass entertainment are forged. George Carlin is almost a heroic ideal in the West. The brash comedian became famous for his rants poking holes in the conservative culture. He can be seen oft quoted by atheists and liberals. The guy who found it so easy to rip through all the conservative meanderings would start to become a child of controversy in later years by objections from a completely different side, the left. George Carlin, however, saved himself from the future criticisms to a large extent by drawing a caveat. Let's watch that caveat.
Now I probably got some other group pissed off at me because I said fruit. There's a different group to get pissed off at you in this country for everything you're not supposed to say. Can't say fruit, can't say faggot, can't say queer, can't say Nancy boy, can't say pansy. Can't say nigger, boogie, jig, jigaboo, skinhead, jungle bunny, mooly, moulignon, or schwarzer. Can't say yid, heeb, zeeb, kike, maki, dago, guinea, wop, ginzo, greaser, greaseball, spick, beaner, oye, tiger, PR, mick, donkey, turkey, limey, frog, squarehead, kraut, jerry, hun, chink, jap, nip, slope, slopehead, zip, zipperhead, gook. There is absolutely nothing wrong. There is absolutely nothing wrong with any of those words in and of themselves. They're only words. It's the context that counts. It's the user. It's the intention behind the words that makes them good or bad. The words are completely neutral. The words are innocent. I get tired of people talking about bad words and bad language. Bullshit. It's the context that makes them good or bad. The context that makes them good or bad. For instance, you take the word nigger. There is absolutely nothing wrong with the word nigger in and of itself. It's the racist asshole who's using it that you ought to be concerned about. We don't care when Richard Pryor or Eddie Murphy say it. Why? Because we know they're not racist. They're niggers. Context. Context. We don't mind their context because we know they're black. Hey, I know I'm Whitey, the blue-eyed devil, patio fade, gray boy, honky motherfucker myself. Don't bother my ass. They're only words. You can't be afraid of words that speak the truth, even if it's an unpleasant truth, like the fact that there's a bigot and a racist in every living room on every street corner in this country. I don't like words that hide the truth. I don't like words that conceal reality. I don't like euphemisms or euphemistic language. And American English is loaded with euphemisms because Americans have a lot of trouble dealing with reality. Americans have trouble facing the truth. So they invent a kind of a soft language to protect themselves from it. And it gets worse with every generation. For some reason, it just keeps getting worse.
Here, Carlin makes an interesting point. It is not the words that are bad, it is the context which matters. Catch a racist using the N word? Destroy him. Not me, because I'm not using it with a bad intention. The above defense is hilarious because the whole point is if a racist is using it like everyone else, he is acting the same as everyone else who is using it. He is not acting disproportionately racist. In fact, you would assume people would be cheering about it. Yet people don't, because the point is that freedom that the society offers above the law, in modern man's conception, they are not available to the bad people. Of course, the bad is defined by what the modern man views as bad. George Carlin is not bad. So Mr. X is bad. Mr. X is bad because he is racist, and thus he can't do the same things as Carlin because his use of words invokes a different reaction among the people. You would assume a person like Carlin would belittle the application of a principle contingent on someone's reaction to an action. But not here. Carlin offers the more progressive solution. Yet that solution needs to be justified. Carlin does not want to admit that he is using it for just the laughs, the taboo principle. So, to justify his actions and give them more meaning, he takes a shot at Americans. According to George Carlin, there is a bigot in every living room on every street corner in the country. Americans want to hide this fact, so he exposes their non-admission of presence of millions of these bigots by using the N-word. Yes, he really wants you to believe that each time he uses the word, a bigot gets exposed. This is not SJWism. This is the liberalism you hear about. This is modernity. The disciples of George Carlin would not regard Carlin as a social justice warrior for saying the same things as what actual social justice warriors say, that there are racists everywhere. The actual swaths of the American population do not even care that Carlin calls Americans weak and hiding their racism by not saying slurs. George Carlin also does not seem to care about the fact that if every living room contains racists, it is very likely that his audience also has many racists from whom Carlin is getting the money. The social activism in the field of their work and in the field of entertainment was not started by the progressives. It was the normal liberals who were doing it all along, with libertarians and many moderates. It is just that now they are being called out by their more liberal counterparts and they don't like it. The whole modernity is contingent on fighting off the bigots. The law is fighting them, and then the comedians, the actors, the directors, and the writers, the media, and the academia are all fighting and exposing the bigots and making their lives terrible because it is these bigots who have all the power. The complete strength of the modern man lies in this everlasting battle against the bigots, who must be attacked from all sides, because unless they are, they seem to have this earth shattering presence on the dear earth. These people whose actions in accordance with their behavior are criminalized, who are so marginalized that they cannot stop a comedian who attacks them, who are so powerless and hated that they have to conceal their actual beliefs by using a softer language or dog whistles, are actually the oppressors. And Carlin et al., the Davids fighting these Goliaths. While Kant is the most important Western philosopher, he is not in the eyes of the modern men even comparable to the greatness of George Carlin. The modern man gets his knowledge of philosophy and morality from artists and artisans. Kant's musing on whether one can lie to a murderer are not appealing. What is more appealing is Carlin's quick take on offense and offenders. Kant's desperate attempt to even accommodate murderers inside his moral theory is forgotten, and Carlin's 2-minute take on how bigots should be treated differently becomes the standard classical liberal paradigm. There is, however, another thing to consider. When George Washington addressed his officers at what is now known as Newburgh Address, he was arguing for the freedom of speech to be important on matters that are most serious, for those affected the destinies of the people the most, the entertainment. The 730 words and the expose of the bigots for laughs was not what made the First Amendment sacred. It was the ability to discuss a point from all sides in a serious discussion. Even a racist standing up to defend his views, no matter how wrong he was exercising his freedom of speech, allowing all of us the viewpoint that we may have missed. For we all may have opinions that the majoritarian establishment disapproves of. It was for this freedom this sacred right was put in place, and not so that the already well off people could enjoy half an hour of shocking comedy. Yet precisely that reason was killed off, and what remained was an ever increasing demand by a never ending rebellion. The joviality triumphed over the hateful seriousness. Nietzsche called the last man pacifist and comfortable. This superficial harmony is the new destiny, and we all are living it.